after what we did last week, then the process now has shifted into concretizing what we have been doing last week in the form of the appropriations bill, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, and I hope we are together with members. Honorable Speaker, as you said, this is a very important matter that we are discussing, and I request that we have our consultations in low tones. Honorable Speaker, the process that we are having today, as I said earlier, is the culmination of the budget making process, and as far as approval of the appropriations is concerned. And Honorable Speaker, members will also be having a chance, because in the second reading, to actually make their comments and opinions and take part in this debate. But Honorable Speaker, from the onset, I want to thank all the members of this House, because all of us have taken part in the preparation of these supplementary estimates, Honorable Speaker, through our departmental committees, and also singularly as members of Parliament, because we really take note of all the opinions from our colleagues in this House, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, also I want to thank you and thank the Clerk of the National Assembly for availing to us a very good working environment, Honorable Speaker, and especially the precincts of Parliament, where we discussed the entire process, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, as I had said when we were doing or debating the report, I also want to thank the members of the Budget and Appropriations Committee, and also our back office, Honorable Speaker, which is the Parliamentary Budget Office, Honorable Speaker, and especially we have been working very closely with officers like Abel, Julie, and Dan, Honorable Speaker, in the preparation of this appropriations bill. Honorable Speaker, why are we having this debate today? The reason why we are having this debate today, Honorable Speaker, number one, it is unprecedented. We have never had a supplementary budget being prepared before the main one is actually implemented. Honorable Speaker, therefore, this is the first time in the budget making process in Kenya where we are having the supplementary estimates, Honorable Speaker, be considered barely a month after the passage of the main budget. And Honorable Speaker, this is premised on the fact that, Honorable Speaker, we were preparing a budget. The budget had two sides. There was the revenue side, but also the expenditure side. I am lucky to be handling the expenditure side. The revenue side, as we know, is handled by the Finance Committee, led by my brother, Honorable Kimani Kuria. Honorable Speaker, we passed our side as the Budget Committee, which is the expenditure, in anticipation that we were to have the entire revenue-raising measures, Honorable Speaker, realized. Unfortunately, Honorable Speaker, or fortunately so, the Kenyan people requested that we look at other means, Honorable Speaker, insofar as the management of public finances is concerned. And out of that, Honorable Speaker, then, we had a hole in the budget. All the revenue-raising measures, as were anticipated by the Finance Bill, Honorable Speaker, therefore was left as a void. And Honorable Speaker, we have done two things to fill up that void. There are only two areas that we could explore, Honorable Speaker. One, it is in terms of expanding our deficit by borrowing slightly more. And in that regard, Honorable Speaker, in this appropriations bill, we are requesting that we borrow an extra 170 billion Kenya shillings over and above what we had budgeted in the main budget, Honorable Speaker. Consequently, our deficit, therefore, for this financial year is in excess of 750 billion. But, Honorable Speaker, to allay those fears, whereas our deficit has moved from 3.83% of deficit to GDP ratio, the current one we are considering, Honorable Speaker, of 4.3% deficit to GDP ratio, is still within our range as a country, Honorable Speaker, only that then, there before, we wanted to move out of the hole much faster because of our borrowing and enlarging the deficit is not a very prudent manner of managing our economy. The other area, Honorable Speaker, we had to explore is the expenditure side. And consequently, therefore, over and above borrowing an extra 170 billion Kenya shillings, we have also cut expenditure to a tune of over 145 billion Kenya shillings, Honorable Speaker, of what we had anticipated, Honorable Speaker, to spend. But, Honorable Speaker, it is important as this House to know that some of the things we have been doing in this House have actually been bearing fruits. So that even as we consider the proposal before us, we must know that it is not haphazard. It is usually very considered, and the more the reason we have been seeing the output in our economy. And I say so because, Honorable Speaker, last year we were in the same process. What were the results? Our economy in 2023 grew by 5.6%. Honorable Speaker, our inflation has now been tamed completely to the recent figures of 4.6%. Honorable Speaker, also, our currency seems to respond to the policies that we have been making in this House, and especially insofar as budget is concerned. And that is why our currency against the greenback has been gaining now close to 20% this year alone, Honorable Speaker, and much more in comparison to the regional currencies. Honorable Speaker, what are the other areas of consideration when we were making this supplementary budget, Honorable Speaker? One, we know that it is just out of semantics that we are calling it supplementary one. But in practice, Honorable Speaker, what we are passing today is actually the main budget. And I say so because the main one was not implemented. What will get implemented is actually what is contained in here. And I see members are already reading it. Members are already consulting on the contents in this bill, Honorable Speaker. What is the content here, Honorable Speaker? The budget we are considering is a budget of roughly 3.84 or thereabout trillion Kenya shillings, Honorable Speaker. 3.8 trillion, just to roughly approximate. Honorable Speaker, if you look at the revenue side, we have been able to downgrade our projections. And other than the 2.9 billion shillings we anticipated, Honorable Speaker, in the main budget, we will now be raising just above 2.6 trillion Kenya shillings. Honorable Speaker, the A in this budget is just around 440 billion Kenya shillings. But also, Honorable Speaker, as I said before, the deficit is over 700 billion Kenya shillings. But what is on the expenditure side? On the expenditure side, Honorable Speaker, I just want to highlight a few elements. One, on the national government side, we have been able to take a hit, Honorable Speaker, of around 121 billion Kenya shillings. This is the downgrade, Honorable Speaker, in expenditure in regards to the executive, parliament, and judiciary. And Honorable Speaker, to lead that way, here in Parliament, Honorable Speaker, we voluntarily, Honorable Speaker, accepted a cut of Kenya shillings 3.7 billion, Honorable Speaker. And members of this House have told Kenyans very clearly that they are willing to travel less. They are willing to travel less domestically and also in terms of foreign. And Honorable Speaker, therefore, we have been able to rationalize those budgets in the National Assembly and in Parliament at large. Honorable Speaker, we have also been able to cut some ritual resources from the judiciary so that they also carry an equivalent burden. And I hope members are listening, Honorable Speaker, because when it comes to travel, let me repeat, the budget for travel, both foreign and domestic, has been cut across the board. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, I want to thank the members of this House because they have said it very categorically that they don't want to travel as much as we have been traveling because they are very cognizant of the problems that we are dealing with as an economy. And that is why, Honorable Speaker, we cut Kenya shillings 3.7 billion from Parliament. Judiciary has lost, executive has lost. But also, Honorable Speaker, the cuts have been horizontal and vertical. We have cut in all levels of government. Whereas the national government is losing 121 billion Even our counties, Honorable Speaker, are losing 20 billion, Honorable Speaker, in equitable share. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, these are tough times, and I want to congratulate all leaders for allowing that we have a lesser budget in terms of size and everyone to take a haircut. Honorable Speaker, what are the other areas that have suffered? As we are aware, Honorable Speaker, when I was moving the main budget, there was an increment in CDF of 10 billion Kenya shillings. Honorable Speaker, I want to thank this House because members have accepted that yes, we can postpone that dream, and therefore we live with the budget that we had the last financial year. Honorable Speaker, there was 14.5 billion Kenya shillings for rural electrification. I also want to thank the members of this House because they have already agreed that we postpone the electrification project, Honorable Speaker, where every constituency was to get 50 million Kenya shillings every constituency. Honorable Speaker, beyond that, road sector, of course, has been decimated. Road sector has lost some quite colossal amounts of money, Honorable Speaker, and many other sectors. But I also want to assure this House, ostentatious spending, Honorable Speaker, spending that is not core to service delivery, we have also cut across the board, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, let me not dwell too much on the cuts. Let me first go to the policy.